Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Continuing our saga. Dave, I can't get over it. I was thinking about the whole break. I was just like, damn. So for folks who maybe have not been watching like a lot of us doing this stuff, if you're just like tuning in for the first time or you haven't seen any of our other shows, everybody in this cast has like their own kind of style, right? Where like, for example, Elf will play characters who, as soon as she sets foot on the stage, you're like, all right, how is she gonna light herself on fire this time? You know, and like Blue Jay's characters are like a slow burn, but Dave does this thing as a player where he's just like quiet and unassuming and like just backing everybody up and like waiting his turn, and then every once in a while he'll just drop this bomb where you're just like, damn, Dave, damn. So that was one of those. That was a Dave moment. That was right up there with the I can't explain it to you right now. Thank you, Dave, for that.
You're very welcome.
I'm so proud of this group. I love.
Wait, what was I can't explain it to you right now?
So
Nice.
what was it? Was it your character, Blue Jay, that asked like what does ICE stand for?
I don't think it was my character.
Somebody asked Dave's hacker character in the sprawl, what is
Oh right.
what does ICE stand for? He's like, it stands for I can't explain it to you right now. And then he like left the screen.
I remember that. Yeah.
So good. Yeah. What's an egg though? Exactly. These little Davisms. I'm so happy about those.
Come out of the chickens.
They come out of the chickens.
And you eat it?
All right. So I think we can let's find out what's going on with Joy.
Okay.
Because meanwhile, in the bad part of town, on the wrong side of the tracks,
in the seedier portion,
the seedy underbelly of our frozen Carpathia.
Yes.
So the last time that you talked with your employer, Ekaterina of the Black Veil, the woman who runs the joint in which you are currently the cook.
Yeah. Well, I'm not anymore. She said you're not a cook anymore.
That's right. Yeah.
She told me that.
So I think you were in your room. It is.
Is this the room I share with yet unnamed NPC?
Yeah, she's not around.
Okay.
She's probably it's near the end of the night, which is to say nearly the morning. And things are quieting down. The last of the sort of customers are leaving, and you hear a knock, a quiet knock on the door.
And I imagine Joy's not entirely settled down yet because, like, as you said, it's near the end of the night, but not the end of the night. So she could still be called upon to do something. She gets up from the bed and opens the door to see who it is.
Yeah. So standing at the door is Truth. And I don't know how we described that he's a Stygian.
We described that he's an older male Stygian. That's what we have.
I have been headcanoning him as being played by what's that dude? Lance something or other. He's
Lance something or other.
He's the guy. I think his name is Lance. He's the dude who plays. He's the voice of a character in Destiny. He's Silence from Horizon.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, what's his name? I'm gonna look it up.
He's like crazy ripped.
Oh, Lance Reddick. Yeah,
it is Lance Reddick. Okay, all right. So that's who I've been imagining as. But
yeah, no, that's good. Yeah.
So he's tall. He's thin. Yeah, Zavala. That's I don't play Destiny, but that's what everybody says when his voice is on everything. So I think he's this character, right? He's the guy that plays this particular Stygian. And so he comes to you dressed in his sort of Stygian attire, right? Like he dresses in a Stygian manner so that like they play up that he's a Stygian, right? He's the sort of major domo slave of the lady of the house of Ekaterina, and he comes to you, and he has I don't think he has anything with him. I think he's just knocked on the door, and you open the door, and he looks down at you, and he says, do you go by Joy around here, or are you Tahira?
I guess she probably still uses Joy, and that's probably come out just over the course of several weeks because she would have used something else before with the disguise and everything. But she like revealed her identity to Ekaterina, and so it seemed pointless to keep it secret from everyone.
Sure.
Okay. So I imagine there's probably a scene off camera at some point where she has said to Truth, like, yeah, that's me. You remember me from before?
Oh,
sort of
so
thing.
he knows you were the.
I mean, we used to, the way he was circled up is that when I was a harem slave, he was in that same place.
Okay. So he says to you when you open the door, he says, "Good evening, Joy."
And yourself? Something I can do for you?
He says, "I have a matter to discuss. The mistress bade me speak with you."
Please. And like, motion for him to come
Yeah,
in.
he looks around the room and he shakes his head slightly. He says, "Not here," and gestures.
Either way. And I leave the room, close the door behind me, and follow him to wherever he is going to lead.
So the two of you are walking down the hallway. The raucous part of the evening has died down, so you're not hearing sounds from the active floor below. This floor is quiet because the people who work on that particularly raucous floor have not yet come to bed.
Come
So
up
it's
here.
quiet, and the rooms are mostly empty. And the two of you are walking, and he says, "How have you found your employment suiting you so far? I know it's not the king's court, but..."
Well, we all have our minor distractions from where we're meant to be, as they say. She says in a sort of like self-defeating manner.
Yeah, he says, he nods and he says, "Try as we might, a mortal hand cannot unseat fate's scales."
And so I'm back again. But our employer has been nothing but fair to me. Room and board for service in the kitchens, so forth. And I'm hoping for more soon.
I have been in the mistress's employ for some time and have found that she is indeed a fair woman with whom to work.
How long have you been here?
He kind of a little theatrically like ponders and says, "Some years now," with a bit of a smile.
But I think perhaps you found yourself against a ceiling, so to speak.
He says, "Well, Joy, our kind are limited in our opportunities here. I am happy to have a room and warmth and food and a purpose in my life. It keeps me out of the snow."
Not to mention work that doesn't involve certain things.
He
Reference to a long time ago.
yeah, he grins and he says, "Into every life some unpleasantness is bound to emerge. It is the hope that we can choose the flavor of our unpleasantness."
Wise. Always thought you were wise. And the walk continues, I imagine.
Yeah,
wherever we are headed.
So yeah, he takes you to a room, which I don't know if you would recognize as being his, but it is.
It's his room, yeah.
Yeah,
I imagine
and-
like a slightly better but still austere, like
Because he is a slave. His room
slave quarters.
his room has no lock. He can't lock the door.
But he also doesn't have a roommate, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And his room is like larger, and he's the only one that lives in it. So he opens it, and it's pretty austere. But there's a bed. There's a small table with a couple of stools. In the back of the room, you see a squat piece of, like, maybe you think it's a shelf at first, but it's like a little wooden kind of folded out, like a screen, I guess. And then there's a dish with some kind of like sand in it and some incense sticks that have long burned down to ash sticking up out of it. And then a little statue with a like a dog's head. It's like a black, like humanoid kind of statue with the head of a dog or a wolf or something.
So here's my question then. Historically, he's an older Stygian
Yes.
gentleman.
Mhm.
So is he from like Stygia proper? Like
I don't know. I don't know that
you.
you would know that.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Um,
Do your eyes linger on it long enough for him to notice?
oh, definitely. Like I take in the whole room, but it's like strange art piece.
Yeah, he sees you noticing it, and he says, "Even far from home, I find comfort in remembering ghosts of my past. It is an affectation that the mistress permits."
Strange ghost to
And
look like that.
yeah, and he gestures kind of helplessly, and you see the like stained black of his fingers. He's these like long, kind of elegant fingers, and he gestures, and he says, "The spirits of the dead are all around us, all the time. But we are here to speak of the living, Joy. Could you get the door?" And he goes and sits down at the little table.
Yeah, she turns and closes the door and says, "Yes, let's speak of the living. Certainly. What can I do for you and for the mistress?"
So does he already know that you are a like poisoner?
Like a
Or
rakish individual?
well,
Yeah.
I mean, he knows you were a slave and stuff. And he knows
I
you can
de-
cook, but
I mean, during the time that I was, in service to that house, I think, and then I was in the Corbidet kitchens when I was a poisoner. So it might have been after his time that I started like indulging in badness.
sure. Okay, so he doesn't know. So he sits down, and there's a faint kind of metallic sound of his. He's got this kind of like neck like jewelry that he wears that's mostly gold and some kind of blue stone. And it sort of like makes a bit of you become aware of the quiet in the room because of its interruption by the like sounds of his jewelry. And he sits, and you sit, and he says, "The mistress has informed me that you have talents beyond what you have shown here, talents that she has some use for."
Lots of juggling, that's for sure.
He smiles and he says, "I think you will find this opportunity somewhat more straightforward."
So this is about my job then. This is about what I asked for.
Yes, you are being given a chance to prove your worth, as I once was, to elevate yourself here at the Black Veil.
Oh, I am very much about my own upward mobility, Truth.
He smiles and says, "We must be careful when we climb, lest we overreach and tumble backwards into darkness."
You'll find that I'm quite good at tumbling, and especially good at landing.
You always were a clever one, Joy, but I hope you are prepared to bring sharper implements than your tongue to bear in service of our mistress.
Oh, sharper. Yes. Well, I have some sharper implements, but just what I can get from the kitchen. Knife.
Yeah. He looks like you do it, and a lot of the time when you suddenly have a knife, people are like, "Ah, knife!" And he kind of looks at it, and he acknowledges the trick, but isn't impressed or startled.
She just puts it down on the table, basically, or like on any nearby surface. Like it doesn't really matter, and she's not going to do anything with it. She just wanted to show off because she's a theatrical dork.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And he smiles and says to you, "There is a man. His name is Yorick Booker. He owes Ekaterina a considerable sum and has for some time. This man operates a fighting pit in the slums."
Sounds like a rough customer?
He smiles and says, "You and I have seen much fiercer men in our time, Joy, but he is not to be underestimated. The mistress has become exhausted of her patience with Mr. Booker and requires that their interactions be concluded."
So what you're saying is the money is not the issue. The man is the issue.
As
And you
is
want me
so
to-
often the case.
And you want me to remove the issue so that the next man might pay reasonably.
He nods and he says, "You should not look too deeply into why you are being utilized. You will find it makes the job much simpler."
Yes. It always has been, hasn't it? It always has been. The why is not important, but you as a tool, of course, are indispensable. I remember that. I remember that kind of argument well. But of course, to prove myself, I will do as directed.
He says, "The mistress asks that you deliver Yorick Booker into the hands of the psychopomp with haste, and that when he has gone from this earth to the land of ghosts, that you return to us and let me know so that I might give her the good news. Of course, if you are thwarted in your purpose, captured by the constabulary or by forces of Mr. Booker, you are not to reveal under any circumstances your errand. Do you understand, Joy?"
My lips are sealed.
You understand our hesitation on this point. In your time here, you have not been known to be quiet when given the opportunity. I trust you, of course, as does the mistress with this important task. But under duress, one's tongue tends to wag.
An old affectation, certainly. My previous job required quite a lot of talking, much of it rude. You understand? And so to interrupt and to speak on these points, it's sort of a habit, but one I can control, certainly.
He puts a finger up like he's standing, but you're not intended to. He stands and he says, "Our mistress realizes that these sorts of errands often require," and as he's speaking, he walks over to a chest, a little footlocker, which again is not locked, near his bed, and he bends over and he opens it, and you hear the unmistakable sound of coins. He says, "Errands of this sort often require resources." And he walks over and he sets a leather pouch on the table in front of you, and he says, "Succeed or fail, this is yours. Use it as you see fit to purchase what you require to perform your task. If you do not need it," and he puts his hands up like, I won't ask for receipts."
I was going to ask, so that's very helpful, certainly. Kitchen knives are not the right tool for something like this, and
Hey, he puts his hand to his chest, like seriously, and he says, "It is not my place to decide the correct path forward." The lantern is yours to bear in this joy.
Right then. And she like reaches over to the coin purse and like drags it
So
over to
you
her.
reach over for it and you feel his hand like on your wrist before you pick it up. And he like squeezes your wrist, and you can see his sleeve has slid up, and he has like old like faded. They've gone like barely visible like tattoos on his arms. And he squeezes your wrist. Not like there's no anger in his face or anything, but he says, "This is your one and only chance, Joy. If you are found out and live, do not return to this place." And he lets go.
Noted.
And he smiles again, like all politeness.
Yeah, and then just like drags the coins over and like, you know, attaches the little purse at her belt. I will deliver his spirit unto the afterlife. Post haste.
And he nods and says, I don't think he even says good luck. He just says like he basically gives you a nod like good.
Best I get. Yeah. Get best. I get to work then. And, you know, I stand up and sort of like do a little dust myself off thing and turn towards the door, open it, and basically step out.
Okay.
You know, if he has anything to say.
Yeah, no, you have an opportunity before you leave, and I think as you go to leave, like you have an opportunity here to have some personal interaction with him, right? Like you may not come back in a while.
You make a good point.
Yeah.
I
don't want to make sure that you had a chance to pursue your belief while you're
definitely right, and I'm kind of caught up in like what I'm going to do with this murder.
Totally, which is great because I love that Joy is already like ahead, and then you get up and you're like, wait a second, like maybe
I'm halfway to the door, and I turn around and I look back at Truth, and I say, we've known each other for a long time, Truth. Well, off and on. And what I'm hoping to say here is that aside from all of these tasks, aside from these things that we are pursuing for the mistress, you know, yourself and myself, that I hope that we might also reconnect. And that I want to know if there's anything that I can do for you, Truth. The person that you are, not the voice behind you.
He raises an eyebrow slightly. Let's see if you can persuade him.
Cool.
Let me add a character sheet for Truth. He wants to be reunited with his brothers, Justice and the American Way.
God damn it!
So being a slave, does that affect your will, right? Like
it affects one of your stats, one of the two. You choose a negative, either in perception or will.
Okay, for him, I think it's probably will. I don't think.
But he's also not born slave, right? Probably because
that's true. He became a slave. Yeah, that's true. All right, I think.
And we're not talking about the like broken trait, right?
This
is just character burning.
Yeah, because the broken trait is for born slave.
Yes, he was not born a slave. He was enslaved. I think I'll give him a will of 3.
Cool. Let me see. What can I do here? Interesting question. Were they actually friends at any point? In the circles thing, I don't think that they were.
You succeeded at the circles test.
I did, but I didn't succeed on a positive affectation.
But you didn't choose to make so you were not friends.
So can I add falsehood? Can I fork a falsehood in here? Like, hey, we were friends, but or is that just part of the persuade?
I think it's just part of your persuade. It's an angle on the persuade. Yeah, I don't think you're
sure thing then.
Yeah, you're quite coming at it that way.
Base of 3. Let's roll it. 1.
Oh boy. Oh dear. Okay. So the failure here is that he's got that wall up, right? And he excuse me, he says, so you were like, what can I do for you, the person? And he says something in what you've heard enough Stygian to know that it's Stygian. He says something in Stygian and then smiles as though remembering that you don't speak it. And he says, I am but an implement of the mistress. Serve her, and you are serving me.
Then I expect when I return that we will be close friends.
Yeah, and I think he says if you perform your task to the mistress's satisfaction, certainly you will be elevated in her eyes, and we will be able to meet again as... He's thinking, you can see him trying to think of another word that isn't equals, but he says, peers.
Perfect. It was lovely to talk to you again, and connections from my past are not often pleasant ones, but this is good. And then I turn and leave.
Yeah.
As if
he bows as you go.
As if reinforcing to myself that it's good rather than
right.
to him, obviously.
I mean, I think right now a lot of the things that Joy says is for her own benefit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she talks to herself a lot. In conversation. Like to other people for herself.
Yeah, totally. There's a great deal of extraneous talk going on when it comes to Joy, and a lot of time people are like, "Cool, you just said 50 words, 3 of which I was interested in.
Yeah.
Now I get a turn to talk."
Yeah. So I guess my next question is, how many resources is that?
I mean, where do you go? Do you go back to your room and like open the purse and look in it, or do you?
I mean, I have to count how this is more money than I've ever had, probably. So I have to count it and see what I'm looking at here.
Okay.
Which means, going back up to my room and checking it.
Well, let me see how much stuff is worth, and then I will figure how much cash she would have given you.
Just so you know, my plan is basically to get a dagger, like one that isn't terrible.
Okay. So your plan on this guy is to stab him to death?
I mean, it's of the skills I possess, it is the one I am best at.
Okay, fair. That is very fair.
I mean, I could poison him, but I'm just like, I got a 2 in poisons.
That's true. But that's just making the poison. Knife is delivering it.
That's true.
Listen, you just make a poison, you stab him, and then horrible magic shit will happen. Actually, this guy getting poisoned is not going to result in that shit.
And to be clear about the target, this guy is like a relatively small fish that they're sending Joy to murder, right? It's
it's not like you're murdering a big deal. This is someone that she would just rather fucked off in a very public way, fucked off from his life in a public way. And
so nice
honestly, if you get caught, whatever, she can just be like, "Yeah, I sent an assassin after you. You want to pay me, or do I send another one?"
Yeah,
right. Like you're if you die, she doesn't care. You're a deniable asset here. Let me find resources, and I will tell you how much you got. I think 1 or 2, probably 1. Here we go. What can you buy with 1? One resource.
It's a good question. I'll also look.
You can buy food for the day, lodging for the night, clothes, shoes, and other simple, mundane material goods. If you want poor quality arms, it's ob 2. Okay, so she should give you 2.
Okay.
Yeah. You have 2 cash.
You already have a poor quality arms?
I do, yeah.
You don't want the one-up of that, then? That's much more expensive.
I have a poor quality arms in that I have a knife, always.
Well, she gave you 2 resources. You can decide what to do with it. 2 cash dice.
There are all kinds of peripheral things from knives for assassinating people, like clothing to disguise yourself, or gifts with which to gain their company.
Yeah, she gave you some money and was like, "This is nothing to me because she's a friend of Lodovic and of course has got money.
So
yeah.
What I'm thinking then is if a good knife is out of my reach, which I think it may be.
Yep.
What I'm thinking is we need poison or something with which to craft poison.
Mm-hmm.
And we want some sweet mortal wound poison.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'll be cheaper for me to get the thing that makes the poison than buy mortal wound poison. That seems
definitely
seems like a thing that will.
Because you have the skill to construct such a poison.
I can make such a poison. I mean, it's real hard, and I'm definitely not going to succeed, but I can do it.
Sure.
So there's that. And then cloves and so forth is the other plan with it. So I guess that's the next thing I would do. After counting it out in my room.
Okay. So you go back to your room and you're looking through the coins, and I think you hear a voice from the door. That's you hear this girl's voice, and she says, "Where did you get that?" Then you look up, and it's your roommate, and she's like looking at you, looking at this like looking through your coins.
Payment for a job about to be done.
She scoffs. She says, "Oh, payment in advance? I don't think that's how it works around here. That's a lot of money." And she like walks over to like get a look at it.
She can look at it all she wants. Like close. I'm like, close the door.
Yeah. Okay. So she closes the door and then walks over and like looks. She looks at it, and she says, "Who did you steal it from?" She shakes her head. "The girls aren't allowed to steal."
I didn't steal it. As I said, it's payment.
From whom? Like, she's asking you all these questions because she's like, how do I get some? That's the unstated, like, me, I want it, gimme.
Yeah.
Like, not from you, but like, how do I get in on this shit?
And I go, payment from our employer for something I'm going to do that's a little more dangerous than sitting around cooking.
She looks at you kind of vacantly, like, I don't understand. She just knows you have gold and is very distracted by it.
Have you ever seen this much money before? Like, jingle.
She scowls. She's like, of course. She hasn't. That's a fucking straight up lie.
Uh-huh. And I go,
it's like, of course.
If you help me, then maybe I would pay you with some of it.
Help you how? What have I to do?
I need to know where I can get a few things. And you've been around here longer than I have. Assumedly.
I need a name for this girl. Give me a second.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. She's suddenly become important.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really curious to see how you implement this this young lady. Her name, where'd my pen go? Her name is Daniela.
Daniela.
Yeah.
And she's Carpathian? She looks Carpathian?
She is. She is tall. She's tall, and you've heard her praying at night.
Presumably violent.
Yeah, exactly. Potentially has a violent streak. That's all we know about her. So Daniela, yeah. So she looks like a pretty standard like Carpathian girl. Tall, sort of willowy, long black hair that she usually keeps braided, except when she's trying to look fancy. She wears the kind of like sexy garb that is given to women of her profession in this environment, and and currently she's at the end of a shift, so her face is like cleanly scrubbed of makeup, and she looks tired and a little desperate. So she looks at you and you say,
like I said, I need to know where to get a few things, and that will come with compensation for you, of course, and maybe further opportunities for such things.
And she says, well, what sort of things? Usually Truth gets things when the girls need them.
Truth is the one who gave me the money. These are things that Truth would rather
That just doesn't
not.
make any fucking... Truth doesn't give you money. Truth is the guy that keeps track of how much money you owe the house. Like, Truth doesn't give away... That's crazy talk. You basically just said to her, like, yeah, I just walked into the store and they started giving me free stuff.
Yeah. I get that she doesn't believe me.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say, all of this is very, perhaps over your head at this point in time, but I promise, if you stay close to me, that all will be revealed. And you will come out of this profitably.
Okay. What do you want from her? You just want her to, like...
She knows, like, the local area way better than I do. I've been in the castle for 5 years, you know?
Okay. Let's have you
when I'm thinking I need these things or whatever, like, where can I get them cheaply?
Yeah. Okay. So let's have you persuade. She definitely is streetwise. Do you want to persuade her mechanically? Do you want to persuade her to, like, make a test for you or give you help on a test, or?
I want to persuade her to bring me to the people that I need to speak to, basically.
Okay.
Like,
all right.
I need her to make introductions.
And in exchange, you will pay her later?
Yeah.
I mean, is that true? Is this falsehood or persuasion?
It depends how much money I have left.
All right, so it's persuasion if you're not sure.
Okay, so persuasion.
Maybe later you can go back on it, but you're telling her. Her will is 2.
Okay. All right, well, let's give it a go, shall we?
Okay.
Can I fork anything? No. Modifier 0. Martha.
If you fail, it's going to be too dangerous and too weird, and she's like, nope, I'm going to play it safe and just do my job.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I fail.
Okay, so I think she looks at you and she says, puts her hands up and she says, my mother said never trust no gray skin. You keep your gold. And she looks at you and she gives you a look like, but if you fucking go to sleep, I'm going to steal it from you. I'm going to, like, she's like, you keep your gold, but I'm keeping an eye on you, you sneaky. And she basically just, like, angrily goes to bed. She does the, like, roommate who doesn't want to have a roommate thing where she lies down, like, pulls the covers up and faces the wall.
I sort of shrug, you know, and spread my hands as such and go like, all right, fine.
Mm-hmm.
No money for you. I guess you'll just stay here forever and have to service customers continually. I'm sure you'll enjoy that life. And then I, you know, stand up and leave. I know it's like late, but I'm not gonna hang out here and get robbed when I go to sleep.
Right.
No, fuck that. So I grab my bundle of stuff, which is like the stuff that I was my motley and like the stuff I wore during like my time as a jester, in a bag, and my poisoner's kit and stuff like in there, as well as, you know, the knife that I already have, and I gotta find somewhere to spend this gold on the things that I want to spend this gold on, and I know there are merchants in this town, you know. I mean, there's got to be. So I'm gonna go looking.
Okay,
that's my plan.
So you gather your cloak around your shoulders and head out into the icy night.
Into the icy night. Yes.
Okay. Well, let's do like a roll, and then I want to see what's going on with Agatha. So
yeah, for sure.
What is this? Are you using circle someone you already know, or is this like a streetwise test to find out where to buy the thing that you need?
I think I'm gonna circle someone.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I feel like I probably know a couple of merchants or merchants' servants at the very least from their time at the castle.
Okay. And what are you trying to what do you want to buy here? You're circling up a.
I need clothes that'll make me look like a patron of a fighting pit. So, you know, something that says I have a little bit of money.
Oh, okay. I mean, you don't even have to for something mundane like that. You can just make a resource test to buy that. Like
as well as the components for potential poison.
that's the other thing.
You know, an herbalist or an alchemist.
I don't know. Like, I don't know how you would. I guess this is the test, right? Is like I don't know. You've been cut off from. You're not part of the underworld or anything, and I don't know that living in the castle would introduce you to someone who sells these things. Like the poison situation for you would be like steal something from Agatha, or like you did in the castle, right? You know your way around there.
I guess that's fair.
But I mean, you can circle someone, and we can figure out how you know each other. It's just it's gonna be tricky.
Well, the circles they have to come from are slave, or underworld or noble court.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, outcast,
so I can circles an outcast poisoner theoretically.
Yep.
So let's do that.
Okay.
Circle someone from the outcast life path, someone who knows about poison plants.
Yeah. An alchemist.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Alchemist or not, they'll know something.
Well, I'm saying alchemist with sarcastic quotes because you can't just be like, I'm John the Poisoner. Come on in. Get yourself some poison. Come on down. Kill off your rivals.
I'm Steve the Murderer.
That's right. You want a murder done? Come on down to Murder Town. I'm Tit Liquid. I think the occupation here is a poisoner operating in the city. That is a pretty specific occupation. But you share a thing with them. They have the same disposition as usual. Time and place is not unusual for them.
Middle of the night for poison.
It's OB4. It's an OB4 circles test.
Why is everything so hard? Okay. I don't have anything else I can throw at it, so we gotta hope for sixes, and then this sucks.
It does suck. It really sucks. Do you have, first of all, let's see, you don't have any reputation or affiliation that would apply, right?
No.
And there's no linked test for circles. So, an appropriate wise can be used as a link test. Do you have?
I have slavery wise. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. If you know you're gonna fail already,
I'm gonna fail.
You could try opening a wise, fail that, lose one of your dice, and then make a circles test. Because then at least you could start opening, like underworld wise or poisoner wise or like.
Screw it. If I get a 6 and everything is successes, I can reroll.
Or you could just try the circle.
Let's do that. Whatever. I don't care anymore. Here we go. Modifiers 0. Artha nothing. Base ob 4.
I mean, is there anything like?
God damn it.
Never mind.
Oh dear, I need to screenshot this shit because.
What the fuck?
That is rough. Okay, well, I'll come back and screenshot this later, but yeah, 1, 1, 1. Persuade circles. So, my options here are to enmity clause. Or to say, it's not going to be that easy. Or, you've got corruption, right?
I do, yeah.
What's the option for the corrupt version of the enmity clause?
Like the weird crony thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the creepy clause. So, rather than the standard enmity, I can invoke the creepy clause to bring forth unsavory, detestable seekers of knowledge and power, always mad in some fashion and murderous. They either seek to gain the power of corruption from you, or elevate you to an exalted place of power, an unwitting pawn of the powers who seek to aid or destroy you. I'm going to invoke the creepy clause, for sure.
Okay!
So...
Sure.
It's a good clause.
Sounds great.
So this guy, this alchemist, this like back alley fucking creeperino that you only go to if you want the really creepy shit.
And to be clear, also like alchemy is the like I'm trying to make lead into gold alchemy.
This guy. So God only knows what his actual name is, but everyone calls him Saltpeter.
Okay.
And Saltpeter is the kind of dude who has like pickled fetuses in jars on the shelves of his shop.
Sounds great.
He's the kind of guy who performs all kinds of odd business for people regarding the humors of the flesh. This is the kind of guy who, if Miro at the very beginning had run into, we could have had this conversation about the death arts. But this guy is a weirdo. And he's someone that, how do you, like, he's connected to you by your poisoner life path. So do you just know him by reputation?
I think it is a reputation thing, because I think after she doesn't get help from Daniela, it becomes like, who do I go and see? And like,
old Saltpeter can help you out.
She talks to like a couple of people and gets directed that way, I think.
Yeah. And I think the directions here are like, people are like, oh, you're looking for an alchemist. And some of these people are like, no, I don't know anyone, sorry. But somebody tells you like, oh, you should see old Saltpeter. He works down in the tanning district. And then, and like you've heard of him before, but you maybe know a little bit of his reputation. This is the kind of thing where like they wouldn't go to it themselves, but you know, sure, you go talk to this guy. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Well, I go and see that guy. So I go to
he's a heck of a weirdo. All right,
place of mercantile residence or what have you.
Okay, so we will find out about this Saltpeter the Poisoner in the next scene that you're in.
Okay,
but he's definitely a thing. So Agatha, rise and shine, Agatha, rise and shine.
Yeah. Or are you the G-Man now?
Yeah, the right witch at the wrong time. So you awaken, not for the first time, but for the first time you really have your head about you, in a cell, and I suppose it probably originally was a cell in the monastic sense of the word, right? A place where a monk would go below thing to really like get away from the world, and really like pray to the angels. So the walls of this place are scratched with the language of the angels in varying overlapping
great.
unknown tongues. It is a room of seclusion, and there is a simple wooden bench, and then the floor, and you have like a blanket. I think the blanket is soaked, as is your shift, soaked with blood, but it's dry, and you are cold. You're cold as hell down here. It's just a little like 1 meter by 1 meter box, basically, and it's got a wooden door that's shut, and you wake up in this cell. And I don't think you see any of it, but you can feel the scratchings on the walls. You can feel the wood. You can feel the crusty, like blood-soaked but dried cloth around you. And you feel that you don't you're in your body again. You can feel the stringy hair hanging around your face. You feel your fingers and thumbs, and the shocking cold.
Sweet thumbs.
The shocking cold of no longer having a cloak of great fur to protect you.
Oh, it's nice being a wolf in some ways. Agatha like stays very still when she first wakes up, because she's not sure where she is and doesn't know if she wants to like let on that she's awake yet. And then like after listening for a while and not hearing anything, her fingers like still a little shaky, like tentatively like feel the wall next to her, and she starts trying to like get her bearings. And God, what is she actually gonna do? Yeah, I think like once she establishes that she's in a tiny box, but there is a door to this box, she like rattles the door slightly and kind of croaks out a call to like see if someone's outside.
Okay. Yeah. So you haven't used your voice in like a month, right?
Yeah. So it's like, really cracked and almost feels like foreign to her when she speaks.
Mm-hmm. Rattle at the door. It is definitely locked from the outside.
Yeah. Where am I?
So there's no immediate answer. Maybe no one heard you. I mean, maybe you've been locked up here and forgotten about. Maybe this is an oubliette and not a prison.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, if there's no immediate answer, then she'll reach out and try to look through Oz's eyes, wherever it is.
And how far away can that happen?
Well, it's 60 feet, but I do it as a bonus action, and it takes my reaction.
All right. Well, you have like 4 levels of exhausted, so
Yeah, I mean, when it comes time for me to actually roll something, like, good luck to me. But let's see here. Spirit Familiar, page 411. Bloop, bloop, bloop.
because you're not disconnected from your familiar. That hasn't been severed, but
It takes 2 actions of concentration. It doesn't specify a distance, so I can just see through its eyes wherever it is.
okay. I mean, I think this place is inured against your sort of magic, so I'm gonna get you to make a roll to see.
Okay. Well, then before that,
Okay.
if I have to make a roll, I'm going to invoke the gritting my teeth. It's not gritting my teeth. It's the other one.
The one where you ignore your wound penalties.
Yeah, I have to make a health test in order to not be totally fucked up. No, it is gritting my teeth. Yeah.
Okay.
So through a supreme act of will and endurance, a character may temporarily shrug off 1 die of pain modifiers.
Mm-hmm.
So once there is resistance and she actually needs to like exert her will.
Yeah, like you close your eyes and you go to do the thing where but the throbbing pain, I think maybe you like grab your wound, right? Like, and we see, but you don't see. You feel the crude stitches. You feel the place where your flesh was torn and burnt by the bullet. Maybe you have a sudden like flashback to being under the knife, right? The doctor looming over you, and then pain, and then you grit your slightly sharper than usual teeth to push through it. So what does it do for gritting your teeth? What do you have to do?
I need to make an ob for health test.
Okay.
And it like takes a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we were in fight, it would take 4 actions, but I don't think time is much of a constraint here.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I guess I'm just gonna try it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think I don't get to factor in any bonuses as such, and I've already used Wolverine once this session, so I can't call on it again, right?
Correct.
So,
Yeah, you've called on it.
good luck to me. I biff super hard on this roll.
Okay.
But it does advance my health, so that's good. Maybe next time I'll do.
Welcome to the club of 1 success.
It's a proud tradition.
Yeah, so you're just like, and the pain like racks through you, and your ears fill with the sound of rushing blood, and it hurts. It hurts real bad. You're very badly hurt, and this
And
is
I think we see her just like sit down on the little like slab that is a bed, just like overcome with pain. So she just like flops down onto it.
I need to check a name of a character real quick, and then I can talk to you about it.
Will it be that one person that we keep being like, who is this?
I have no. Somebody hears you and comes to talk to you, but I got to figure out what that person. I can't remember what that person's name is. Give me a second. Okay. All right. You hear a voice. Maybe you missed the first few words because of the throbbing of your blood in your ears.
Yeah, I have like a little pain.
And it's clear, even though you're blind, both literally and being blinded by the pain, you hear a voice. It's like an older woman's voice, and she's in the room with you. You didn't hear the door open, but you're pretty disoriented. And she says, "Oh, you poor thing. Here we are again, together in the dark." And we see sitting, because you've sat down to like so you don't faint. We see standing next to you. You don't see it, but we see the sort of transparent form of Eugenia, the lamplighter, holding her lamp, The room is not lit by it, and she's, you know, transparent and shadowy. There's little wisps of shadow kind of dancing around her. And maybe, I don't know, what's your reaction? How long does it take for you to recognize the voice?
Oh, it's immediate, and she just says,
That's a steel
That's
test,
a steel
isn't it?
test. Yeah. Before you say anything, let's get you doing that
Sure.
steel test.
where's the list for things advancing steel? I think mine might have gone up last session, depending on if
yeah, I think I
suffering
might have
overload
too.
is really severe.
Because I do think that, yeah, like being massively fucked up gets you a steel test. It is 364. Being mortally wounded and surviving is an Ob 6 steel test.
All right, no, we're well past that, Adam. Because I have steel 7 and I need a challenging test.
Right. So you need to encounter a sustained artillery barrage, or the living dead, or a demon, or an angel.
Have I been in the presence of demons and angels? Really?
Not directly, no.
Okay.
Is this
Other
not the
people
living
have.
dead?
She's a ghost, and you gave her to the spirits. So this isn't just her. This is the spirits kind of talking, or like empowering her to hassle you. They have to have given her up a little bit to. She's got a day pass in the world of the living.
Well, whatever.
but-
Is there an ob to the steel test?
Seeing a ghost is +3 ob, so it's your hesitation. And all it's going to do is give, if you fail, is give her an opportunity to like talk a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So, wait. So the ob is going to be 3 plus my
Plus your hesitation, yeah.
hesitation.
Yep.
Which is 4. So the ob is 7. I'm rolling 7 dice.
Yeah, minus your wounds.
All right. So yeah, because of the wounds, especially, I get 3. So I hesitate for 4.
Okay. What do you choose? How do you choose to hesitate? I imagine it's just stand and drool. Like grit teeth and wince.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm just still like floating in the pain
Yeah.
space. She's kind of just like talking.
Yeah, exactly. So just for a few seconds, she says, "Oh, poor thing. Don't worry. I'm not here to punish you. Not here to drag you screaming down into the dark where you left me. No, I've seen the way forward for you, witch. You'll have plenty of suffering in the days to come. I'm just here to watch."
Am I done hesitating?
Yes, yeah, you're done hesitating.
Yeah, and so Agata just says, darkness is all you get to see. It's the only place for you. And that's what you get for chasing away the shadows too much. Toying with things like that. And she like stands up again and like straightens out.
And yeah, she says, "Oh yes, we all pay for our crimes in the end. Funny, I thought I'd lived a good life. I suppose one can't light the torch and keep secrets at the same time."
All you people in castles, convinced you're right. From where I'm standing, it's all the same. One life says cursed as any other. Even yours, even mine. And she like shakes her head, not hiding from it. Where am I anyways?
And so when you say that, we cut back to the view of the room, and you're just talking to an empty room. Like she's vanished, and you kind of gesture, and you're like, "Where am I anyways?" And you're just like alone in this room.
Yeah.
And you hear your own voice echo off the wall.
And she just kind of like does like a and kneels down near the door and like feels for how much space there is underneath the door. So like we can see like her fingers kind of like probing around in the dark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, it wasn't originally constructed it's not like an airtight box or anything. It's a place of solitude though, so it's built to keep sound and what have you out. Yeah, I mean, you can't quite get your hand under the door, but it's not like you could pass a piece of paper easily, several pieces of paper, but you can't fit your fingers under the door.
Is it small enough that you know how mice and rats can kind of squeeze.
Yeah, definitely. A rat could squeeze under this.
Yeah,
because they got the little jelly bones. And they mush themselves.
Yeah, and as long as their skull is yeah. So, so she just kind of is like aimlessly humming this tune and like tapping her fingers on the floor and just like calling out.
Yeah, you're trying to persuade a nearby rat to come and hang out.
Yeah, because it's like a little weird. It's like some weird folklore thing where there's like a like the Pied Piper or some other shit like that, where there's like this little song. But the grain of truth of it is that there is this song that rats like.
So what's like that Pied Piper shit, right?
Yeah.
But this is less the like I'm leading you to your doom and more like I know the little song you like. The Pied Piper is like a betrayer, right? Like at some point he was a man with rat speech and was friend to rats and then used it against them. And so
he is cursed as fuck.
Yeah, the story among the rats is that he's the Pied Piper is a never trust humans for they'll betray us.
Yeah,
just like he did.
Cautionary tale.
I love it. That's so good. Okay. So ratiquette can be used in place of etiquette for dealing with rats or their cousins.
And so I have low speech, because of the rat speech trait I got from corruption.
So let's have you make
this. I think is circles, Adam. I think
it is. I think you're circling up a rat.
Yeah.
So if you just want a rat of any sort, this is a great appropriate place for a rat. I think it's just an odd one circles test.
Can it be?
Do you share any circles with the rat?
Yeah, I mean the life paths thing, like sharing a circles with the rat. That's the trick, isn't it?
My argument to you would be, what place doesn't have rats?
Yeah, I mean,
like rats are everywhere.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, and the moon doesn't have rats, Dave. And if I were
that's not true.
Born on the moon.
Dude, the moon is made out of cheese. Rats are all about that shit. That's where they're from.
The rats are from the moon.
It's from the rat planet.
But yeah, if you want, you can impose the penalty because I didn't.
I think because you're not human, you don't share or they're not human. Let's call it obtuse base for something a rat. But like also the rat is super limited in what it can do to help you. So
yeah, they're not. Like,
and I have a failure state in this case as well.
And I don't think being wounded affects my circles.
I do not believe that wounds affect your circles. No,
it shouldn't impact any attributes because it does affect steel apparently. But
it does, yes, being hurt.
So anyways, I'm gonna roll it and we'll see. Okay. I guess. So I have no modifiers. And its base ob is 2. So it is a routine circles test, and I fail because I don't have any fate.
So here's what happens, right? You like whisper to the your little song to the rats, and we cut into the hallway, and we see a rat kind of like scurrying around, maybe like chewing on the bottom of a door or something. And he like perks up his little ears, little black filthy rat.
And like scuttling along the walls.
Yeah, perks up his ears and then scuttles along the walls. And we're all down at rat level. And he like scuttering towards you. And like skitters across the hallway and is coming towards you. And then a great black leather boot comes down on the rat and just crushes it. So we just hear this like squeak. You hear it. You hear the squeak as the rat is crushed under a boot.
No.
And then you hear more boot steps come towards you. And then you hear a voice outside. 2 voices, in fact. You hear a man's voice say, she's been making some noise, talking, I think to herself. I think the wound's driven her mad, sister. And then the wearer of the black boots, the sister in question, says, madness or no, it is of no concern to me. All I require is that she is alive. And you hear her voice raises so you can hear her through the door, and she says, "Are you alive in there, witch?"
And like Agatha is seated on the bed again. Like as soon as the rat squeaked, she like went still, stopped, was silent, sat on the bed. Yes, alive.
Good. We exerted some effort making sure of it. I'm glad it wasn't wasted. Angels be praised.
I bite back the scoff, but I don't scoff.
She says, what would she say? She says, it is our most fervent hope that you will prove of use to us, witch. You've been up to some naughty business, haven't you?
I can certainly be of use.
We shall see about that. And she turns. Well, you don't see this, but she turns to the person.
Hear
That's near her. Her voice changes, so you know she's no longer addressing you. And she says to the man that she's with, she says, "Fetch the witch something to eat and some water. I want her to be able to speak. And clean that up." And then you hear the two of them walking away. Unless you like shout out after them or whatever.
And she'll speak up. Well then, if I'm to be of use, to what end? If I know in advance, I can prepare. These things take time.
She says to you, she stops and she says, "So eager. Would you like to make a persuasion test to like put her on a good foot here?
Yeah.
Just to be like, yo, I'm trying. I just want to help."
I'm just like, yeah, I can help, but I need to like know what you want from me so I can be prepared so that I can do it. So I'm rolling persuade. I feel like I'm probably forking falsehood.
Yes, you're being surreptitious. You're being
because
shady.
I am being surreptitious.
Yeah.
Do I have a wise? I don't think so. Not for this. So
I gotta make a character sheet for her.
Yeah, I just get one fork on my persuade.
Okay. Her will is 4.
Okay. And so what happens if I fail here, Adam?
She has something that it's not even the time. It will not be the time for talk yet. She has something that needs to happen first if you fail. Otherwise,
tortured first.
Yeah, like the confession part will have to come first if you fail.
Yeah. Fucking, these people are so tedious. All these fucking religious adversaries. They're the worst.
Dog it up. Come on.
Seen it all before. God damn. Okay, so I'm rolling like 3 dice against Ob 4 here. Do I get an astrology die here, Adam? Can I fork astrology?
Yeah, always.
If I talk about the stars.
I mean, you don't even need to. Astrology is like the super fork.
Okay, we're gonna try with the astrology die. Here we go.
So roll and then roll an additional astrology die. Ooh.
So I get 2 successes.
You got 2. Okay. So now you need a 6 on the astrology die. Ooh, the stars are not in your favor.
However. However. Oh, it's not a falsehood test. It's a persuade test.
That's right.
I'm an idiot. I can't use forked tongue. Okay. Sick.
Okay.
I failed.
But wait until later. Your forked tongue will come in very handy. So she stops, and what's great about this is look at these challenging tests, difficult tests. This is how we level up.
It's great. Yeah, being wounded is the best. Let me tell you.
You learn from your failures. So I think we hear her come back. We hear her footsteps return briefly. She takes a few steps backwards, and she says, "You know, the scripture of God says we're not meant to suffer a witch to live. But I think there's still a person inside you. It's going to be my job to bring her out. Then we can talk about making you useful."
I am vindictive.
Yeah, you can make it worse for yourself if you want to just like
Oh, I'm just gonna fucking lay into this stupid
Throw an ugly truth at her or
asshole.
something.
Yeah, no, because like, what's another good thing that I know the book says?
Mhm.
Like, it's just like, what's some bullshit? That the book
Well,
says?
so here's the thing. There are mechanisms for this. If you want to just make up a thing and then roll like scripture wise to say that it's true. Excuse me.
Here's what I will offer instead, Adam. I'm gonna make an apocalypse wise roll. I'm gonna be like, and the book also says that the world ends in like a frozen winter, whatever. Like it's gonna be one of those kind of things, if that's fair. Because I know about how the world ends.
I think you can say something about the end of the world, but not about scripture.
Okay, fair enough. Well, then I'll just stick to the tried and true of what do I care about the book of some dead god? All you people should have followed him. Die in this cursed winter.
And
What she says.
yeah, I mean, she's in a position to just ignore you unless you want to make a roll. Like, do you want a result? What do you want her to do?
I would love to incite her to bad behavior. I want her to like do a thing that she knows is bad and that she will later regret, so that I can use it as leverage against her later.
Right.
It's one of those things where she like lashes out at me and then it's like, oh no, I have sinned, I'm very bad, I have to flagellate myself extra tonight or something. Whatever stupid shit she does. That's what I want to do. I want to incite her to.
Man, I hate those days.
It's a good intent. I like it.
Also, is she Carpathian?
I don't know if you can tell, but probably. Chances are really good.
Okay, because if she is, I will lobby for a bonus die here.
Because
if she's Carpathian, she's violent.
Oh, so that's you want to impel her to wrath.
Yeah, exactly, right? I'm getting her to, because she's being all like, oh yes, I'm so perfect and calm and no, we'll pull the human out of you. And I want to just be like, I'm a jerk to you, and then have her be like, I'm actually a monster.
Okay.
All
right.
That's what I want. I want to expose her ugly insides. Or maybe they're not there, right? Maybe she actually is really nice and pure, and I say this shitty thing, and she's like, oh child, I forgive you. In which case
you're just trying to learn something.
Yeah, exactly.
From her.
Testing my captor to see what she is like.
Okay, I like it. All right.
Is this an ugly truth?
Yeah. I
make
think
her
so.
mad?
Give me a second here. I'm just gonna reload Roll20. There we go. Yeah, I mean the ugly truth here is her humanity, right? Is that she's actually like a person with human pettiness.
Yeah, and that
she's like, I'll bring the human out of you, and you're like, let me bring the human out of you. Oh, it's kind of ugly, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, so using ugly truth to incite her to violence or wrath, rather, I think is fine. That's a good ugly truth. Let me see what
is
this that would be.
Ugly truth about family?
Nah.
Ugly truth about friends? It's certainly not a complex political situation.
It certainly isn't. I'll say I think it's
This is like an ugly truth about humanness.
Yeah, it's obtuse, but she's also inured against her own human nature by religious indoctrination.
Yeah, so that's a little harder. Cool.
Yeah. So I'll say obtuse with a +1 difficulty.
Okay. I'm gonna do ugly truth. Does the death of God fit me in for an apocalypse wise thing?
They don't really care about the death of God. This is a post-God religion.
They're post-God.
They're post-God.
Yeah. Symbology?
I don't think so.
Okay. What about, and this will be my last one, what about either intimidation or persuasion?
One or the other, sure.
One or the other?
I think intimidation probably. Because
intimidation seems good. Yeah. So I'll fork intimidation.
Okay.
And the ob is 3?
It is, yes.
Good luck to me. Do it, Adam. I incite her to like expose what kind of person she really is. Right?
Okay.
Like, is she the type to turn the other cheek or to become angry and like break the facade.
So you learn of her that this is totally what she gets off on. She loves it when people are shitty to her. Her whole thing is just taking the horrors of the world and all the mean, terrible shit and just being like, it's cool. I'm a sponge for this shit. I love it. And so
right. And so this is useful to me in that me misbehaving is actually
she
good.
loves
Like,
it. This is exactly, yeah. So you lash out and we just see her smile, this beatific smile. So we get to take a look at her. So her name is literally, I wrote this down before we even started. Her name is Sister Sufferance. And the sister, her job is to take on all the horrors of the world and to persevere through them. And so she's wearing a, she's vested vested, I guess is the thing. She has that trait. She's a nun essentially. So she has like a dark, she has a black habit. And, when you say this, she just smiles at the man that she's with and nods like, you see? And she turns and she says quietly to you, she says, poor thing, see how the woods have poisoned you against us. We will draw that poison from your wounded soul. And she like touches the door, kind of like caresses it. And there's like a little shiver and she turns and walks away.
Yeah, and Agatha just mutters about how like essentially stating that like poison is a useful adaptation in nature, just being like, yes, poison you and all of yours. Protect me from you, my poison. And then like sits down and like rubs her hands together. Because I'm in like a hospital gown basically, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Her awkward like knees and bony fingers and everything all
like
kind of red and ruddy. Yeah. Okay.
Nice. Cool. All right. So you just kind of like curl up and she walks away.
I think she like pulls the blanket over her shoulders and then just sits there like rubbing her hands and muttering to herself.
All right, cool. Well, let's take what is, I guess, likely to be our last break because we're at our weird point. So let's take a break here and we'll come back and we'll see how Business Town is going. Stick around. We'll be right back.